She's on the ground. So there's...
Who is it?
My mom!
The man has been informed of his wife's murder, but he could never have imagined that his own daughter was the one responsible.
What happened?
Your wife and daughter got into an argument?
She's going to jail forever. Your wife's dead. I was too.
On March 3, 2020, Ohio police received a 911 call from a residence in Acon, where they discovered Brenda Powell in her kitchen with 30 stab wounds to her neck. Sydney, her daughter, was also present in the house at the time. Initially, Sydney told police that the incident was a result of a home invasion turned violent murder. Despite Sydney sustaining injuries, law enforcement had lingering questions, as details didn't align. Brenda had been on the phone with one of Sydney's college professors during the attack and suddenly began screaming before the call abruptly ended. When the professor attempted to reconnect someone claiming to be Brenda answered, but the professor suspected it was actually Sydney impersonating her mother. Concerned for Brenda's safety, the professor promptly dialed 911, leading to the swift arrival of first responders. The scream, coupled with the professor's call to 911 and the circumstances described, provided sufficient probable cause for the police to enter the home forcibly. Inside, they encountered the scene of the brutal murder of Brenda Powell, shocking in its violence and tragic implication.
Akron Police! Akron Police! Where's your mom at? Okay, stay right here.
No, there's so much blood. No, please.
Man,
She's
never.
really
Take her.
recording now. No.
Stop.
Well, we gotta figure out what's going on. Can you sit down?
R9, get that 32 rolling here quick. We got a female down, blood all over the place. Sergeant Smart, you just got a crime scene. Take her outside. You got she's blood all over. I don't know if she's breathing. Secure the scene. She looks like a 22. She looks like she's been down for a while. There's blood all over the place. There's a knife by her head and stuff like that, and there's a huge pool of blood. No, I think she just walked in on it. There's a broken window in the back, so if you can just put up some crime scene tape. As soon as AFD gets here, they're going to pronounce her, I'm sure.
It was discovered that Brenda had not only been stabbed, but also struck over the head with an iron skillet. Her injuries were severe, leaving her fighting for her life.
Come on.
Is she gonna be okay?
Come on.
I
Come on. You just need to cooperate with me, all right?
want my dad.
Huh?
I want my dad.
What happened? What's going on? What's going on?
We heard a bang. We heard a bang. And she told me to get out. And then I heard screaming. So I came back and she was on the ground.
Okay, you heard a
I ran
bang.
out back. There was a bang. Someone broken.
What is your name?
Sydney.
Are you cut?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're cut
I
somewhere.
don't think so.
Yeah, your hand.
No, I was helping her. I grabbed her.
All right, stop.
I grabbed the knife.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I don't know. We just got
I'm the dad.
Okay,
Sydney.
what's-
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sydney also appeared to be injured and was in a state of shock, struggling to maintain composure, even with the arrival of her father, Steve Powell. Police had to secure the crime scene and begin piecing together the sequence of events to unravel what had occurred.
The back window's broken in.
So you're gonna have to
Daddy.
inside there. So
I don't know. There
go
was
check
so
the
much
lady in the
blood.
house. Okay. She's got minor cuts.
Inside the house, investigators found a broken window and the knife used in the attack on Brenda. However, a peculiar detail emerged. Blood was observed dripping on the outside of the broken window. This led police to suspect that the window had been broken after Brenda was stabbed, contradicting Sydney's claim that an intruder used it to enter before the attack. This inconsistency marked the first of several discrepancies in Sydney's account of events.
Interesting. Somewhere that's not you. Okay, do we know who, where, which way?
That is the younger guy. I'm looking through here and I can see pictures. And there's basement setup for what looks.
Yep. Hey, sorry, I'll call you right back. Bye. All right, let me go report that.
Yeah, there's guys in the mail. It's probably her brother.
Well, I'll see if we can find out who else lives.
Given the seriousness of the case and numerous unresolved issues, the police dedicated time to interviewing nearby homeowners to gather as much information as possible. Amidst the confusion, Steve Powell, Sydney's father, was the only person whose statement seemed coherent and logical.
Okay. Do you live here, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my wife, and there's my daughter.
How old's your daughter?
She'll be 20 in March. She's 19 today. Is she coming out?
Not yet, sir. Just can't hang out.
Sydney, can you tell me what happened? Huh? Sydney. Sydney.
On its way?
Yeah, it's coming.
From where?
Yeah, that's them right here. I can hear them.
I have a female hair.
As the police worked to unravel the puzzle, they interviewed Steve Powell and one of Sydney's friends at the station, hoping they could provide insights into the incident. Unfortunately, Steve had no inkling that Sydney was involved in the attack or the severity of Brenda's condition at the hospital. Detectives realized they would soon need to break this devastating news to him.
Who'd you get a call from?
Got a call from him, call from me.
Oh, okay.
He said there was a call, went out, a distress call from the University of Mount Union where my daughter was going, and said, female in distress. I said, well, that's funny because Brenda's there, my wife. So I called Brenda, and it rings and rings on the cell phone, no answer. I call Sydney back, rings and rings and rings, no answer. I call Brenda back, ring, no answer. I'm pacing around. I call Chief back, and I'm on the phone with him, telling him there's no answer. My doctor calls me back and said, oh, Mom's on the phone with Mount Union. I said, well, cops are on the way. And she went, there's a break-in, and she just started going off. She said, what? She said, there's been somebody broke into the house. There's blood everywhere. She was hysterical and crying.
So at first, when you talked to her, she said your wife is on the phone with Mount Union.
Yes. And as soon as I said, cops are on the way, the hysterics started.
Is she still attending?
Well, as far as we knew up until today, yes, but apparently not for the last, I don't know, maybe couple weeks.
Sydney had kept a significant secret from her parents. She had been expelled from college several weeks before the incident and had been deceiving them since then. However, she confided in her friends about this, including Lauren, who lived in the same dormitory.
Now, we understand that Sydney was your roommate at Mount Union?
Yes, she was for last year and this year until she left.
And so you've been friends ever since your freshman year at St. V?
Mm-hmm.
Go over each other's houses, everything like that?
Yep. Well, she started off in exercise science freshman year, her first semester, but then she didn't like the classes, so she switched over to psychology and sociology, but then she didn't really like that, so this year she switched to education, and then she didn't like that either, and that's one of the reasons she left, is because she really couldn't find what she liked. I think she struggled in her classes. I don't think her grades were the best, but she didn't really tell me that, because I wasn't really struggling. I think she kept a lot of stuff hidden, because when we were just talking or with our friends, she always seemed happy. Like, she seemed okay, like I said, I couldn't tell until the end where she was kind of just like struggling, and she kind of was sad and just like, Lauren, I don't know what to do. I think she felt like everybody around her kind of had figured out what they wanted to do, and she had it.
Establishing Sydney's mental state leading up to the incident is crucial for detectives to determine whether the attack was a sudden snap or premeditated. However, Sydney's defense strategy revolves around claiming she has no recollection of the events, asserting that she blacked out, and possibly using an insanity plea. This complicates the investigation as there is no concrete evidence directly linking her to the crime. Nevertheless, investigators are uncovering that Sydney had been keeping significant secrets from almost everyone around her.
Well, I know she's had anxiety for a while, but I think it was this last semester that started coming back in January is when it really started, that she was kind of more like upset because she really didn't know what she wanted to do. My friends and I were worried for her because we didn't know what was going on because she didn't tell us.
Initially, Lauren sensed that something was amiss with Sydney and earnestly tried to assist her. Initially, she supported Sydney without any doubts, like any good friend would in such a situation. However, Lauren's suspicion grew as Sydney continued to exhibit evasive behavior.
I could tell she was getting more upset, like more sad. And I told her, like, I'm here, like, you can tell me, I'm here for you. If you need anything, I'm here. But she never really opened up until she was leaving and saying that she was struggling with school and that she was kind of trying to figure out what was going on, and that's when I started to try to help her.
Let's talk about this. You're her best friend, and I know this is difficult, but tell us about her relationship with her parents.
Her and her parents had a really good relationship. Like, her mom and her were best friends, probably, like, they did everything together. Like, one of the reasons she went home was to be with her mom. They were always close. She never said anything bad about her mom. She never ever talked about having an argument with her mom. Like, I can't recall every time she'd be going home, she's like, I can't wait to see my mom. Or when she goes home for weekends, she'd be like, oh, my mom wants me to come home so we can hang out and like watch movies. And she loved being.
Stage, Sydney found herself entangled in a web of lies that became increasingly difficult to untangle. Instead of coming clean, she chose to portray college as not working out for her and attempted to persuade her parents that they could save money on tuition by letting her pursue other endeavors.
What's going on? Are you not going to school? She goes, I'm overwhelmed in school and I don't really like what I'm doing and it seems like it's a waste of my time and your money. I said, well, but that's all part of it. Nobody's going to tell you you need to do what you're doing when you're 20. You need to.
That's not the story she shared with her friends.
So when she's talking to you about, the problems she's having at school, did she mention that she tried talking to her parents?
Yeah, I know she definitely, especially when she left, she talked to her mom about leaving. They kind of made that decision together to leave them out.
Lauren's suspicions were confirmed when it became evident that Sydney had been dishonest with her friends. Simultaneously, Sydney had also been deceiving her parents, who were unaware of her college troubles until they received a call from Sydney's professor Steve, and Brenda initiated crisis discussions to uncover the truth about their daughter's situation.
So I went back, I called my wife on my daughter's phone. She picks up, she was working down at Children's, and she goes, what's wrong? And I basically told her, I said, Sydney, I think the reason we can't get on is because she's unenrolled, she hasn't been going to school.
Sydney found herself entangled in 2 layers of deception, one for her friends and another for her parents. Despite failing grades not being uncommon and most parents being supportive during such challenges, Sydney feared her parents' reaction and couldn't muster the courage to admit she had been asked to leave college.
Yeah, we asked her what she was doing and she said she was good. Like, she acted like what we would see as normal. Like, she was laughing, she was having fun. She said she got jobs because she works at the Akron Rubber Ducks. She's worked there for a couple seasons, so she was gonna go back there. And then she also said she was looking for another job and like everything was good and she was trying to figure out like her next year and all this stuff, and she was gonna talk to her parents about housing, trying to come back to Mount.
Once she got to Mount Union, or anytime actually, did Sydney ever drink alcohol or she did? Okay. Just kind of describe that for us.
She liked to drink. There was an incident in fall of our freshman year where she drank too much and she wasn't alcohol poisoned, but she did end up in the hospital. Her mom came and got her at like 2 in the morning. Usually after that, her and I were together, and if she did drink, I usually kind of like slow her down after I'm kind of her limit because she's small.
Detectives suspect that Sydney may have snapped when Brenda was on the phone with her college professor, leading her to silence her mother to conceal her lies permanently. Despite Sydney's claim of memory loss, she made critical and careless errors. She used an iron skillet to subdue her mother before brutally stabbing her with a steak knife over 30 times. Sydney then impersonated Brenda on the phone and staged a break-in in an attempt to cover her tracks. These actions left enough evidence for detectives to piece together what happened.
You were going to house hall?
I made it in far enough to see the back fit. When you go into the front door, you come around the kitchen, you go in, you can see there's like a pass-through between the kitchen and the family room. From the back of the house, I could see the right hand, there's 2 big sliding windows. I could see that window was literally, it looked like it was busted. Went down the hallway probably about 2 feet, just enough to see blood all the way down the hall.
Tragically, Brenda did not survive her ordeal and passed away in the hospital. The county medical examiner determined that Brenda's cause of death was blunt force trauma to her head and multiple stab wounds to her neck. Classifying her death as a homicide, detectives faced the heartbreaking task of informing Steve that his wife had died.
Well, not really bad news. Your wife passed away.
Detectives thoroughly investigated Sydney's claims of an intruder, but their findings contradicted her story. The evidence pointed to a different narrative altogether. This led detectives to the incredibly difficult task of informing Steve that his own daughter was responsible for his wife's death.
What happened? I don't think someone broke into the house. I don't know if your wife and daughter got into an argument about physical. I mean, the window was broken, but there's no forced entry into the house. Did your wife and daughter ever have like really heated arguments? This is not possible. Your son's outside, but he doesn't want you to go.
My son's here?
Yes.
Would you like one of us to just go be with your son?
I don't know. I don't know.
Take your time. There's no rush for
The unimaginable turmoil Steve must be experiencing is profound. His wife murdered and his own daughter the prime suspect. Eventually, Steve comes to the realization that the detectives may be correct. He now faces the heartbreaking task of breaking the news to his son.
Clearly, they think Sydney did this. I lost two. She's going to jail forever. Wife's dead.
You know, they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they find out exactly what happened. Nothing's definite as of yet. They still have to do their investigating.
And where's Andrew? Did he sit out there by himself or is he with? Well, yeah, I don't want anybody in here with me. I don't want anybody. I just want me and him. That's legal. I don't care.
Yeah, you don't want anything about it?
I don't want any of you. No, I just want Andrew.
So you just come ahead
Yeah,
when you're
I
ready,
will.
okay?
You want me to do it? I don't know. They don't know. They haven't told me.
Sydney was arrested and charged for the murder of Brenda Powell. She claimed insanity at first, saying she had almost no memory of what happened, including hitting Brenda with the cast iron skillet and fatally stabbing her. The jury didn't believe Sydney, and she was found guilty on 2 counts of murder, 1 count of felonious assault, and 1 count of tampering with evidence. Sydney Powell was sentenced to life in prison with a chance of parole after 15 years.